Live from our studios, here's Property TV.
I'm Ian Thomason from Thomason Property, and I'd like to welcome you to this month's Property TV. This month we're continuing with the theme of maximising returns from investment property, and I have with me Kellie Farmer, who's my property manager. We also have a great property of the month, but before we get to that I'd like to take you to this month's market comments from Kevin Turner. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Well, the big news right now is to do with land valuation. What's happened is that the state government have changed the way they're now valuing land. They're now doing it on a site value basis as opposed to unimproved capital value. And that's actually seen those valuations rise by as much as 35%. Now, we're assured by the state government and by the councils that this is not going to reflect in increased rates, and you'd certainly hope not. What it has actually done is cause a lot of conflict between agents and sellers. We have sellers saying, well, hang on a minute, if the value of my land's gone up by anything up to 35%, why hasn't the value of my property gone up as well? Well, you need to bear in mind that it's a change in process, not necessarily a change in true value. It's going to be interesting to watch what happens with the councils, more particularly to watch what happens with land tax, because these valuations are used to set the thresholds for land tax, and you'd have to hope, now that they've been increased, that they're going to increase those thresholds as well. We'll watch that with care. I'll see you next time.
Thanks for that, Kevin. Now I'd like to introduce you to Kellie Farmer. Kellie's the property manager in our business and looks after all the properties, and one of the things that I've been speaking to her about is the number of our clients that don't maximise the returns that they can get from their investments. So Kellie, following on from that interview that I did last month with Bradley Beer from BMT, you and I have been discussing a number of people that you think don't have proper depreciation schedules. In your opinion, from discussions with the landlords, how many would be falling short of the deductions that they can get?
Yes, and I feel that majority of landlords don't carry out the schedules, 5 to 10% that actually do, and a lot of them are reaping the rewards come tax time. A lot of their deductions are getting into the thousands, where the landlords that don't have this done are missing out on thousands of dollars in their tax returns. So
that must be you must find that a bit frustrating when you know what can happen, and we're trying to do the best thing for our clients, and they don't take advantage of it. Inspections
that I've actually been to with the tax depreciation companies have pointed out to me the number of things that are tax deductible. And it's actually surprising, and a lot of landlords would be surprised as to what they can claim. Kellie, the other thing that you mentioned to me is maintenance, that you feel that if that's done properly, it can have a big impact on the amount of rent that's achieved. What's typically do you find are the things that have an influence on the rents with regard to maintenance? I feel that the landlords that carry out regular maintenance on their property, not just when there's actually a repair and maintenance that is requested by a tenant, such as your normal water, your taps leaking and that sort of thing. Owners that come to me and say, Kellie, let's freshen up the unit with a coat of paint, or let's have the carpets replaced, they haven't been replaced for 8 or so years. They're the properties that I feel are easily rented, that we get higher quality tenants, and it just keeps your property at a high standard to keep the rent value at its maximum. Kellie, I know the other thing that you mentioned to me is sometimes you have trouble convincing landlords that they should take a long-term tenant for a number of years rather than just the 6 months or 12 months, because you've mentioned to me that they actually do end up better off financially. Could you just explain that to those that have properties? Yeah, certainly. When I can let a landlord know that a tenant is a good rent payer and does look after the property, and I am confident that they are a good tenant, I do suggest to owners to carry out a longer term lease. Some owners look at it as a negative because they feel they can't increase the rent over 12 or 24 months. But if you actually sit down and do the figures, a landlord over a 2-year lease does come out on top. And they come out on top, why is that, if they can't increase the rent? For instance, in a 2-year lease term, there's a possibility of having four lots of 6-month tenants through that property. So that means 4 let fees to the agent, and also the possibility of the property becoming vacant those 4 times. So looking at that on a property that's $400 a week, so that's $1,600 in let fees to the agent over a 2-year term, and then your extra weeks of the property being vacant. Whereas if you do sign up a tenant for a 2-year lease, you've got consistent rent the whole way through.
All right, thanks Kelly. That was great information, and to those of you who are, or even if you're not our clients and you have any questions relating to property management, we're more than happy to provide you with the information that we can. And now I'd like to take you to this month's feature property.
Set amongst the timber boardwalks, palms and subtropical plants, goldfish-filled ponds and water features sits this freshly renovated home. The ambience modernisation techniques and the features built into the design will impress you. The master bedroom ensuite is incredible, with spa bath and bidet. The kitchen, dining and outdoor living area open to the peaceful and tranquil views of nature. Enjoy a barbecue with family and friends, overlooking the award-winning pool.
So that's our property for the month. If you'd like any more information on that, don't hesitate to contact us on the number on our screen. So with that, I hope you have a great month and I look forward to next month's Property TV.